There's a quote of a scientist that I love, is Peter Karavina, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, that says that science tells us what to do, storytelling makes us want to do it. So portraying those in our stories, it's super relevant.
Netflix has set, you talked about it earlier, but Netflix has set a very ambitious sustainability targets, cut your emission in half by 2030, and as of 2022, bring your, and we are in 2023, but still, bring your remaining net carbon footprint to zero annually by investing in the power of nature to capture carbon. Am I right with that? Yeah. So as the head of production for France, what does it mean, concretely?
Wow, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So, yeah, it's a very ambitious goal, and our global strategy is really anchored in the climate science. So everything we are focused on is on the decarbonization on our production. As I mentioned before, 60% of Netflix emissions are related to productions, globally speaking, and this have been our main goal. So we have many initiatives across the globe. It depends on the country, it depends on like the industry, stability and evolution. Concretely in France now, we have a strategy that is anchored again in our global one, but has 3 pillars. That is, one of them is making sure all of our production has a éco-référent for the French speakers. That is someone who is following our productions from beginning to end, estimating the carbon footprint in the get-go, but also influencing and bringing solutions to our producers and partners. So just to clarify to the audience, in France, we produce all of our content with partners, with producers. We don't produce by ourselves. It's a partner model. So we really depend, and we really need that influence and that that change to come across with our partners. So then we have Sequoia, who is with us, Sequoia Ecotournage, that is a consultant on sustainability in France, that follows the beginning of production to the end. And we kind of estimate in the end what we could change. This also helps us collecting data, understanding the challenges, understanding where we can contribute more and where are the places we need to invest more. The second pillar is being part of the industry. We are part of solution, we are part of like the challenges. This transition won't happen by one company, one person, or one part of the industry. It's a collaboration effort. So we are part of EcoProd, that is an association in France. Also, we just joined the CST, that is a technician association also in France, to be able to be part of those conversations and part of that learning process. We have an internal sustainability team that is super expert. So we can also bring learnings from other countries everywhere we are producing and implementing this. And the third piece of it is like being able to provide a playground to our vendors, to our partners, and experiment those new technologies. So for example, in Lupin season 3, like part 3 that we were shooting, we want to pilot the hydrogen unit instead of like diesel generator. And it was successful, but also showed us a lot of challenges that we still have to get there. And TSF, that was our partner in the experiment, also learned a lot to reinvest in their own company and on business. We also had another example on Lupin as well, when we were shooting in the Arc de Triomphe, and it's like, for producers who have been there, it's very complex to shoot there. If you need to, and it was a huge sequence with like action scenes and just Marché going everywhere. And we had to have flexibility, but also like lighting properly to have the best creative vision. So TSF came with this proposal of like batteries to make sure the power of the sets were agile, but also flexible and sustainable. And it was great because we didn't have to cross cables everywhere and stop like all the streets around us. It was much more smooth and a big production. So we want to provide that space, support, invest, and make sure we are doing concrete actions to decarbonize. Again, recycling, it's something that we focus. We buy like secondhand costumes. We have a film coming up. Hopefully, production will be in Nice, and we were thinking of the producers came up with the idea, should we transport everyone on train instead of plane? And it's like, great. We even didn't have to raise because everyone is so engaged. And it's like, can we have bicycles for people to go to the set as we are in Nice and in a small city instead of like cars? And if we need cars, can we electrify them and bringing more electrify? So I think it seems like small steps, but they are huge and then bring us like a lot of learnings to be able to make the transition we need to with everyone around.
But also, as you said, you talk about production, but also in Netflix, sustainability is in the content, in the storytelling. I think it's also very important for Netflix as well.
Yeah, that's true. And I think there's a quote of a scientist that I love, is Peter Karavina, I hope I'm pronouncing correctly, that says that science tells us what to do, storytelling makes us want to do it. So portraying those in our stories, it's super relevant. You can have Don't Look Up, it was mentioned, that is obviously a film that has a premises of like sustainability, but you also can have the contributions, meaning like a character who is activist. We had in Queer Eye, for example, one participant, one hero, that was a climate activist as one of the characters. Also, you can have like small contributions that are not small. We think are small, but are not. It's Lupin again, sorry. I'm like over-index Lupin, but in season 1, if you watch, there's a funny scene when he parked the car in front of the pyramid, planning to make his rob and steal thing, and then a police officer comes in and knocks the window, and he's like panicked, like what is going to happen? And then suddenly the officer just said, hey, turn off your car because this is not good for environment. So those are also like ways of bringing that awareness and bringing that knowledge to our members. And as a data point, that it was something our sustainability team is exploring as well, is 165 million households for Netflix in the last year watched one story about sustainability. And we did a CI study, that is a consumer insight study, that shows that 2/3 of members that we have already, but also the ones that are willing to join Netflix, wants to watch a content that talks about sustainability, to learn and to understand more and to contribute in their own life. So it's a very important for us as well.
Thank you, Claudia. James, at Paramount UK, you face similar issues as Netflix, but when it comes to production, sorry, I don't know why I went up. In fact, late last year, Paramount UK announced its peak sustainability initiative, which sets out ambitious targets and actions. Can you tell us more about this, the different commitments of this peak? And I need to, do you know why this is peak sustainability? You will explain.
Okay.
Open my eyes.
Most importantly, it's called peak sustainability because our logo is a mountain and we are trying to get to the peak of sustainability. I'm glad I've got that out of the way. So peak sustainability is a pan-organization initiative that we launched late last year, covering kind of the 4 key things that we do. We do production, so rather, as Claudia said, we're doing everything we can to make sure our production's carbon emissions are reduced down to the bare minimum, and then we're looking to offset in the right way those emissions that remain. Operations, so how we run our buildings, how we distribute our content, how we liaise with our supplier chain. We are making sure that we are using renewable energy, as Charles mentioned in his talk, but also making sure that we are holding our suppliers to account for their behaviour in carbon emission reduction. So that's production, operations, and then the final 2 are our content, so the storytelling. And I think probably the clearest thing that I can point to there is that we, along with the other major broadcasters in the UK, signed up for the Climate Content Pledge. So this is around COP26 in Glasgow. BBC, ITV, Paramount, Discovery, and a couple of others all signed up to commit to embedding basically pro-environmental messaging and awareness-raising themes and topics in all of their content. most of my work is around unscripted content, documentaries and entertainment. So we can do a lot to educate and inform and sort of make people aware of the issues there. In fact, in the UK, documentaries from TV and radio is more trusted by people for this kind of information than the news, for example. So actually what we say matters more than what they might see in the news. And then the final area is culture, internal culture. So a big part of what we did was get our whole employee base up to speed and rolling their sleeves up and doing stuff. So we had a 2-week program we launched with where we took all of our employees through each part of their lives, how they bank, how they travel, where they holiday, and get them to think about how they can do it differently. And then the other thing we've done is we've got regular volunteering days where our employees go out into the community and do good, environmentally sustainable work in our parks, our woodlands, and our local communities. So we're trying to cover everything that we can possibly think of.